we'll get started. All right, so good morning, everybody. Scott Dolch, President and CEO, Connecticut Restaurant Association. Thank you guys for joining us this morning on a Monday. Hope the snow wasn't too bad. I guess a little bit of flurries this morning. Hope everybody had a good weekend compared to the weekend before. And looking forward, I know you guys, this is a busy week for you and how important Valentine's Day weekend is as you guys lead into that with a kind of a Monday Valentine's Day, also a Sunday Super Bowl. So kind of a unique time with the Super Bowl being pushed back a week, how that's going to play out. But all signs from a weather forecast look great. But I hope you guys all have a great week leading into it. So I'll start by sharing my screen. Let's see. I work, everybody see that? Yes, okay, perfect. All right. Little picture of Iron Rondo. If you haven't been there, great bar. Dimitri's there working the bar. So try to mix up the photos every time I can for our presentation. All right, so what are you guys gonna learn here today, this morning? We'll give a quick update. Vet's gonna turn over to Vet here in a second to give an update of the CRA, what we're working on kind of internally as an association, as far as membership and opportunities for you guys to take advantage of. I'll give a national update. I'll then give kind of a CT advocacy update. And then I'm going to turn it over to Rocky and Sean kind of to give you guys a lay of the land of what our partnership is looking like and what we continue to grow with the Department of Labor. So without further ado, I will go and turn this over to Yvette. I know she probably hasn't even seen this slide. I know she hasn't. But Yvette, if you want to give kind of a quick membership update for those on the call, kind of what we've been working on over the last month.
Thank you, Scott. And I think I have a little bit of a shaky internet connection this morning, so kind of signal to me if my my connection freezes here. But just as Scott mentioned, there's a lot of membership updates today, so I just wanted to get a little FaceTime and go over some of these. We have a lot to cover today, so I'm just going to go quick. But as you see there, renewal letter and payment. So we have our annual renewals all happen in January for our regular membership and in February for our allied membership. So all of those renewal letters have gone out. So you can do your annual dues payments by mail, but you can also access that in the member portal, which I'm going to mention in just a minute. I think, Scott, if you have it on this checklist here. But just look out for that in the mail. But if you have a, you can actually go to ctrestaurant.org and go to the member portal and log in. If you are a primary contact on your account, you can access the member portal at any time using your email, as long as we have your email in our database. If you don't remember your password, you can just click the reset password link. And if that still doesn't work, just message us and we will reset that for you. The new Allied member program, we sent an email out last week. You might have seen it. We did a revamping of our Allied membership program. So our Allied members are businesses that provide products and services to the restaurant and food service industry. So these are the folks that you use every day: POS, insurance, your food and liquor distributors. Members that are businesses that are part of our Allied membership program are committed to the industry. They are committed to the mission of the CRA. And so we ask that when you are looking for referrals for businesses that you use every day, to access our Allied member directory and look for those folks who are committed to what we're doing here and partners with the CRA. The directory is on our website, ctrestaurant.org. It's the Allied member directory. So that's really exciting. And then the next bullet point there, you see state of the restaurant industry. The National Restaurant Association puts out a state of the industry report every year. It's a big book that goes over this year. Of course, it will include where we are on the road to recovery, but it also includes trends across the country, data, very informative report. It's available on the, if you go to restaurant.org, which is the National Restaurant Association website, you can link to it there. If you are a CRA member, regular members have dual membership, which means if you're a CRA member, you're also a member of the National Restaurant Association. So you might have also gotten an email letting you know that that report is available. It is free for members. Anyone can access it, but it's free for members. And I think it has a $349 value. So you just have to click the link, enter your ID information, and you can access that that free. We are also including links in our member portal that are member exclusive. So that if you log into the member portal, you'll see a hyperlink that says member exclusives. There's a lot of resources there. You can access that report from the member portal as well. Scott, I'm going to skip over the National Public Affairs Conference, let you speak about that in a moment, but you can see the dates there, April 26th to the 28th in Washington, D.C. The National Restaurant Association show. So this is the big show that National puts on every year. I keep saying it's the food show, but it's more than food. It's food, it's technology, it's trends. National didn't do the event last year. So this is their first year back. It's May 21st through the 24th in Chicago. Several of you have already reached out to us asking about planning for that. So I just want to make sure you guys have the information. And if you are a member, you also get one complimentary ticket. So you can actually log on to, I'll share the links in the chat in just a moment, but you can log in with your member ID and get your complimentary ticket. If you don't know what your National Restaurant Association member ID is and password, please message us and we'll get that out to you. I think I just wanted to mention, as far as the member portal, we're also going to be including the recordings to any webinars in the member portal. We do email that out afterwards to anybody that registers with the recording, but members can always find that in the member portal. Like I said, if you have trouble accessing it, just message us and we'll get that info out to you. And I think we might have gotten everything in here. I think I got it all. So Scott, did you want to just share some information before we go to ServSafe on the National Public Affairs Conference?
Yeah, I know we just put it on there. As you guys know, every year we go down to Washington, D.C. As a delegation of Connecticut restaurateurs to actually meet with our delegates. We meet them in person. If anybody has any interest, we have a lot of our board and our legislative committee interested in getting involved in that event and getting a chance to advocate on a national level. All of the states around the country go into DC. We unfortunately, just like the show, we did not go to DC last year, and the year before was about a week before the pandemic began. Maybe I brought it back, I don't know, but I had dinner with Oregon and California CEOs that first week of March. But it's really, really informative. Other board members, other folks, other members from around the country get together in DC, and we go and we try to meet in Connecticut with all 7, our 2 senators and our 5 House reps in person to discuss issues on a federal level. So any interest anybody has, if you haven't seen notes from us, please reach out to my staff. We can give you more information of that event down in DC. ServSafe. I hope you guys all know that we work tirelessly on all of our ServSafe classes and making sure your certification ways to be able to get that done. You can do in-person classes. We have 2 phenomenal instructors that have like a 92% passing rating, some of the highest in the country. You also can do online, taking the online book and then coming in and doing an in-person test, as well as you can do everything fully online now. So you have really 3 options. I still think the in-person classes, I know it's a full day and everything else for your team, but just to be able to get it done and be with all the kind of changes in food code and things of that nature, because obviously the test does change, just making sure you're looking on our website, ctrestaurant.org, ServSafe. Our full schedule is there. We're continuing to update classes. They are filling up as we go forward. You have discounts for membership if you are a member without question. So please, and then I see that I've put up the State of the Industry report, which is something that the national team works tirelessly on every year to kind of give you guys trends. So it's kind of an association update. I will shift now. So any questions, please put it into the chat. I know there was a lot in there today, but I guess I will just end with thank you to those that have already sent in your membership dues for 2022. Your guys' support, your voice helps us do what we do as an association. So we appreciate that for both our regular members and our allied members as we move forward. All right, let's go to a quick national update. Just kind of give you guys a sense of what's going on. Rrf Replenishment, let's just start there. I think you guys saw I did a press conference with Senator Blumenthal last Monday at Carbone's. Thank you to Vinny. I believe Vinny is on for helping host that location in Hartford and just talking about the importance of the $489 million that we still need for 1,606 restaurants that still need this support. I'm sorry, 2,066 was 1,600, different number. 2,066 businesses in Connecticut that applied have not received it. Trying to get some updates this week. They're all down in DC trying to get some things done. The Senate, I think we have 7 or 8 confirmed Republican senators. We need both sides of the aisle to kind of work together here to find a solution. The end of the government spending bill, they're going to need to pass something next week to keep the government going. As you guys all know, if you follow federal government, whether it gets kicked the can for a couple of weeks is what Sean Kennedy thinks, and then possibly there could be a bill that we could be put in. So working tirelessly. I would say to you on the RRF, if you haven't done it already, it's very simple. Take your cell phone out right now, text replenish to 52886. It'll send you quickly. It'll take literally 2 minutes of your time. You can send emails to all of your delegates of where you're located with your address for both your senator and your House rep about the Rrf replenishment. Even if you've received it, you know how important it has been. I ask everybody to do that. I have a quick slide at the next slide here. Just remember, text replenish to 52886. Takes 2 minutes to fill it out. ERTC, that's the other big thing that's kind of going on down in national. First and foremost, the funding delays with the IRS. Senator Kristen Gillibrand from New York sent off a letter and has done some press last week about the challenges. As I see Johnny Panderos with his note, I can't agree with you more. There's many of you that have filed it, sent it off, and are still waiting a check. It's affecting your tax refund return that you're working on, I'm sure, right now with your CPA as you guys get to that date. I'm hoping for some updates on the funding delays. Everything from government and the legislators are saying they're not going to lose that money. That's already been passed in Congress. It's just IRS trying to get this thing done and get it out. So from a stress level side, as far as the funding, I think you can take a breath, but also we just need IRS to move a little bit faster. I know it's not something they normally do, but they need to get this funding out. So I agree with you, Johnny, and many others that you're still waiting on those funds. And every day I try to get an update from national as far as where the IRS is and cutting those checks for you. As far as reinstatement of the Q4, so as you guys know, with the infrastructure bill, the Q4 for ERTC was cut out of it. There is now a bill that came up in the House a week ago that we sent a letter and we're supportive of. There are 49 supporters on both sides of the aisle. And then there should be a Senate version put out later this week in the next few days. So we know how important the ERTC has been. Last but not least, if you have not taken advantage of ERTC, if you're like, what the heck is the employee retention tax credit, not the ERTC stands for, please reach out to us immediately. You can still backfill and go back and go after credits if you haven't done it already. So if you're looking at this on the slide and going, what is the ERTC? You're talking substantial funding opportunities for the employees that you had throughout the pandemic of getting a credit for having them employed. So please reach out to us. We have contacts through our CPAs and even our payroll. I talked to Dave Koletsky at DataPay, helping you guys do that and getting that money to you. So please reach out to us. Very, very important topic. But obviously, I know how important RRF is, and we're not going to stop pushing until we find a solution to get that $489 million back to you guys from federal funding. You guys know our 7 delegates. All the House members will be up for election, and obviously Senator Blumenthal's election. But just down at the bottom here, text replenish to 52886. I'd like to be the top state as far as putting pressure on the federal government and sending out emails, as you guys know. All right, quick update before I turn this over to Rocky and talk about DOL. State advocacy, just kind of put a quick slide together today. I didn't put all the cities and towns in here. Mask mandate. We were fortunate that Mayor Bronin in Hartford last week did not extend after February 1st. The mask mandate has been lifted in Hartford, but as well as I'm still trying to work with West Hartford, Stamford, New Haven, Bridgeport, I believe Hamden, and there's other cities and towns. If you have a mask mandate, please text. You can even put it in the chat right now. If I'm missing cities, I'm trying to get those lifted. If you guys have seen, we've gone from 1,685 hospitalizations to 795 in the last 2 weeks. We've gone from a positivity rate of 16.89%. Yes, I know these numbers off the top of my head, down to 6.83. And it's continuing to fall. We need to get we need to get this thing lifted because we know obviously your staff are probably still going to wear it. If we remember back to May 18th, when we lifted all business restrictions, it took about a month or so before folks started really lifting the mask, even walking in. But it's about confidence. It's about that we're trying to get our businesses back. We're back open. Valentine's Day weekend, like I said at the beginning of this, is so important. I'd love to see all of those cities lifted before then. That is my ask as I talk to all the different mayor's offices as of this morning, and we'll continue to push this week because I think it's vital that we have some positive momentum going into Valentine's weekend. So you guys have a great weekend in the Super Bowl as well. Mansfield, as I see, I will work on. I'll work on Mansfield coming after this. If there's anybody else I'm missing, please don't hesitate. Put some pressure on your mayors and first selectmen or town managers on that, and I'm happy to have a discussion with them on that. So that's the mask mandate. ARPA funding. This is so much fun. I'm kidding. Unfortunately, at a state level, typically the CARES Act and any other funding that came out of the federal government went to the state. I work with Commissioner Lehman, and others to try to get grants, to try to put together programs. The American Rescue Plan funding, the difference was instead of going to the state, it went to the state and then it got put into the cities and towns. Every city and town got a chunk of that based on their population. An example, New Haven got $90 million. Others got multiple $1 million, the bigger cities, but even your small towns potentially got a few million. The question is, where is that funding going and how is it helping the hospitality sector and our restaurants? That's the $1 million question. And that's where a lot of my focus has been over the last few weeks. I'm trying to work with our mayors to figure out solutions to help you, whether it's grant-based programs, marketing initiatives, tax remittance, property tax, things you pay at a city level, healthcare permits, health permits, whatever else that you guys look to spend. I'm trying to find ways to help you in your recovery. I'm happy to kind of support each of you guys with these different towns. Thank you, Andrew, for the town manager of Wyndham. But I'm happy to help you guys with these different towns. But I ask you as a business owner in those towns to send off notes and start asking those questions right now. Unfortunately, I don't have the time in the day to deal with 169 different cities and towns. So I'm going to need you guys to be loud and ask those questions because realistically, those support dollars should be coming back. It's about, a rescue plan. Anybody needs to be rescued and helped. We are the hardest hit industry. So making sure these cities and towns, if you find creative ways, City of Norwalk, thanks, Kevin. Actually, they were on my list to put them today, but I'll reach back out to them. But yeah, the ARPA funds is something that they haven't spent it yet, or they've said they put a plan together, but even as I've talked to some of these cities as of this morning, they're still like trying to figure out how they're using these ARPA funds, and they should be coming back to you. So that's the ARPA side. Lynn, if you don't mind putting your question into the chat, I'll try to answer as best I can. Milford grants, which I love. Julie, thank you. No, Milford's been great as we continue to work through this and help the businesses recover. And I might actually follow back up with you, Julie, after this. Connecticut legislative session. It begins on Wednesday. Unfortunately, we're still not allowed into the chambers through the month of February. Hopefully that lifts with the Omicron kind of going away. But we definitely have a lot on the docket in a short session. This will be a very short session as we look into an election year. But we're working on expanded outdoor dining as we speak. As you guys maybe know or don't know, it expires on March 31st. However, the governor did pass a bill that we helped support last year that allows you to still do some of the things that you were able to do during the pandemic. Not all of it, and that's what we're kind of working on. But as any of the town DCDs that are on, please reach out to us to try to help you guys. We're still trying to see if we need to pass another bill to make sure that you guys have this chance for recovery. I know it's a third spring and summer, but this is a vital spring and summer when we really start recovering. So that's near the top of our list. The tax remittance, if you guys haven't taken advantage of the taxes, remember we passed a bill last session. You get to keep all 7.35 of your tax dollars for 1 week during this budget cycle, which means you had a chance in August, you had a chance in December, you've already missed filing those. Your last one is there's a week in May. So please reach out to us to help you guys through that process. But significant dollars, I've heard it's anywhere between $6,000 to $9,000 per restaurant on all of the full service restaurants. Thank you, Yvette, for putting up the link. But we're trying to get that passed for another year. we're trying to work with to see if we can do that again for your recovery and budget cycle 2022, 2023. And the last but not least, Rocky, I know you've been very patient. Unemployment trust. Understand there's about $750 million that we have to pay back the federal government. If you guys were having a business back in 09 through 14, you probably remember that you had to pay a substantial unemployment, trust back, as every business has to cover that. We're trying to work with the governor as well as legislative leaders to use some of the ARPA funds that are still at that state level and other ways, whether it's the budget surplus, whether it's the rainy day fund. We're in a coalition with many other business associations. That is a huge piece because that's a long-term effect for your business. So that is the questions. I just quickly, keeping outdoor dining and passing a bill to allow it long-term would be significant. I agree with you, Kevin. That's what we're working on. I know there's alcohol to go permanent. There's other things that we have. I just want to put everything on today. Nice on Newington. Yes, Carmelo, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Hoping to see if we can get that done again. So
I just want to mention, I forgot in the membership update, but we will be sending weekly updates with legislative session beginning this week. So members will be getting a summary weekly. So long as there's something that new or something that changes during the week, we will send you an update, and it just sort of kind of provides you a good summary of what's happening, what you need to know, where are hyperlinks to more information. And it's really easy to respond to us. If you have questions, you can just respond to those emails. So look out for those. They'll look a little bit different than our other emails, but it's a really great legislative update to keep you current with what's going on.
And I think that, we're trying to continue to work on our communication. I think we've tried to do a great job as an association, but my team has been phenomenal. And those weekly updates for members, to Yvette's point, we'll try to keep you guys in the loop. I will tell you, as session gets started, I have a lot of things we're trying to get past, but let's not forget that, we potentially are going to be dealing with other issues that could have a negative effect on your business when you're coming in with scheduling and other things that you guys have seen in the past, some of the bills. So details on outdoor dining and tents, Mark. There is legislation right now on April 1st that gives you some of that, but obviously it's more at the town level. We are trying to work with planning and zoning, the committee, to see if we could possibly extend the special act, which was what was passed for a year through March 31st. We're trying to work through the legislation as well as the governor's office to find a solution. So Mark, knowing the Redstone pubs all too well, allowing you to have that tent out in the parking lot again for 2022 is so important. So not there yet, but I know we're kind of trying to get you guys to get an answer so you can start ordering that stuff as much as, but I will tell you that there already is a bill, even if we didn't get something passed, that should be able to let you do some of that, but it is at a town level. So please reach out to us individually, and we'll try to look at every instance and scenario in town. Has a little bit unique side, but hopefully we can just maybe do something legislatively that allows us just to do what we've been doing for the last 2 years. Is kind of our ultimate goal. All right. I think I've answered all the questions on the side. Please feel free to jump them in, but I'm going to stop talking now. So I'm going to turn this thing over. Listen, I know, sometimes you guys think of Department of Labor, maybe like DRS or anything else. Like, I don't know if I want to talk to them. I want you guys to know that there's definitely some allies without question. The Department of Labor has been very supportive, and both Sean Butler and Rocky is on today. Is going to do a quick presentation. I want you guys to know I started working with them probably about 3 months ago, specifically on the Afghan refugee challenge. We knew that hundreds of Afghan refugees were going to be coming into our state, how we were going to get them eligible for work. And we kind of took a lead as an association to say, hey, we definitely would love, we have a worker shortage going on. This is even before Omicron. And, we would like to help place them in jobs if possible. And we've been doing that. We actually had a call with the folks in New Haven, where the vast majority of these Afghan refugees have been placed, of trying to get them jobs. I know that we're trying to work through that, but Rocky and Sean, this is beyond that. This presentation will talk about CT hires. For all of you, if I said raise your hand, but you don't need to, how much you guys spend on Indeed and other ways to try to find people when you just work with a computer. You actually have staff here. You have staff that work for the Department of Labor. Rocky is a perfect example of that you can actually reach out to, say, hey, we're going to post a line cook job, just giving you a heads up. Do you have any candidates? like his job, at the state, he has a vested interest. He's got New Haven roots. He has a vested interest in our state and getting people, into jobs. So really excited about, our partnership, and Rocky, I will unshare my screen. So I believe that you have an opportunity to share yours and kind of go through. I know the last thing I'll say, as I said to some of the folks in New Haven, I know this is a little bit, okay, well, where do I go? How do I click? I think there's a lot of valuable information within this webinar. So that way that Rocky doesn't get 5,000 calls about how do I do this? It's free. And this is how you kind of get yourself on CT Hires and start posting jobs. And there is no cost. Again, I say it, there is no cost. And you've got support staff to help you guys try to find viable workers for your business. So Rocky, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Scott. On behalf of Department of Labor, thank you everyone for attending sort of this demo. I'm going to go through a number of things today. Hopefully, at the end of this, you have a basic understanding of logging into CT Hires, what it can be used for, and importantly, what my role is and the role of the other business service specialists throughout the state. So I'm going to share my screen and kind of go through that. First, I'm going to show you, this is the way the state is broken down from a business services perspective. So I am the rep for the Northwest region, and there are a total of 5 of us, and we all represent a different region. However, for the purposes of expediting, your CT Hires registration, I'm going to make myself available for registering any restaurateur who calls me, emails me, and is looking to register with CT Hires. Are going to take advantage of some of the benefits. And as Scott pointed out, and I want to stress, everything that we do is free. We are only looking to help you fill vacancies with recruitment efforts and things of that nature. One of the ways in which that we do that, we run recruitment events at our American Job Centers. I actually have 9 or 10 planned already through March. We create flyers for you. This is an example of one right here. We blast these flyers out amongst our very large distribution lists of individuals and recruiters throughout the area that are working with folks looking for employment. We send them to schools and other things to try and get the word out so that, when you host your recruitment event, you have qualified individuals showing up looking for employment. Again, those are free as well. And again, when you're looking to fill, roles, just like I would recommend any individual looking to gain employment, use every avenue available to you, especially the free ones. And, the other benefit I'll point out, and Scott mentioned also, when it comes to CT Hires is, you have an actual individual, you have the business service specialist in your area who is scouring all of the listings every day in CT Hires. I myself, I create this newsletter that I'll show you here that has the list of all the jobs between a certain date in Waterbury, Torrington, and Danbury, and some of the outlying areas. And I send that out to that large distribution list as well. Again, people that are working with individuals looking to rejoin or get back into the workforce or move from make a career shift. And I've found that it's very useful. I receive emails all the time. This gets posted on job boards in schools and other businesses that help, and recruitment services that help. Others find positions. So if you were to post a position, when I log in and I see it, again, it would go on this newsletter, and it's another way in which that I'm trying to help individuals connect with staff. And as Scott pointed out too, we started working together due to the Afghan evacuee project. Currently, there are, I should say that it is a joint effort. We have CRA out of Bridgeport, Iris out of New Haven. They're resettlement organizations that are sort of the first point of contact with these individuals. We are sent their information. We are enrolling them into CT Hires so they too can use it as a job search tool. I would also stress CT Hires, everything on CT Hires is vetted. You can guarantee that if you find a job order or a company that's recruiting on CT Hires, it is a legitimate position. You know, I'm not sure if many of you are aware, but on Indeed and ZipRecruiter and some of those other services, they are not vetted in the way that CT Hires is vetted, and there are quite a few scams that people are becoming more and more aware of and kind of leery of. So, you know, CT Hires is, you know, there are constantly people working in the background to make sure that the companies that are registered are legitimate and the positions they're posting are legitimate. And there's a whole user agreement that we'll go into later that you know, you'll have to read and sort of sign as well. But it's a really easy system to use, and whenever you have a question, you can phone myself or any business service rep. I don't mind getting thousands of calls, it's okay, or emails, you know, in terms of helping companies connect, you know, with employees. At moment, there are about 200 or so evacuees within the state. They have various backgrounds. We have dentists, we have those that have owned restaurants, we have people that are engineers. They have some that speak English very well, some that do not. They're all enrolled in ESL classes to kind of help expedite that process. But they are eager to work. So if you have a position, maybe entry level that you feel one of these individuals can fill, you know, feel free to contact me, and I'll look through who we have and make the best recommendation possible. And again, these are folks that are very eager to work, you know, and get their life started here in the U.S. I'm going to flash through this. So the other thing I'll show you is that, and I'm going to send all of the documents that you see today and links to things to either Jennifer or Scott that can then forward this stuff to you so you can use it in the future. But this is an actual list. You know, if people aren't visual and they like lists, this is an actual list of towns and the workforce area that your town would reside in, so that you would know who to contact. And these are the business specialists, business service specialists that work out of those regions. You know, Southwest, South Central, North Central, Eastern, and then myself in the Northwest, representing, you know, Waterbury, Danbury, Torrington, Cheshire, and the like. So again, feel free to contact these individuals. We receive emails every day throughout the week of companies that are, you know, sometimes just looking for critiques on job orders, you know, information on what are industry standards like, what is the pay like for this type of position, so that they can better position themselves to kind of recruit in what many of you probably know now is a crazy time for recruitment and employment from an employer standpoint. When you come to CT Hires, you know, you can literally type in CT Hires in your Google bar. It will bring you directly to this page. This is, if you've been to CT Hires, I guess in the last few weeks, you'll know this page changes. That's the other thing about CT Hires. We are constantly working to update it to make it easier, more friendly to use, more streamlined. So this splash screen has changed in the last few weeks. But you'd come up here to sign in and register if you were looking to register as a company. You would scroll past this down to the bottom, and you are an employer, so you'd be in this section right here. Don't worry about the other two, or the three rather. You would come to this screen here, which is the web version of the user policy. But again, I will be sending this a Word document for you to have, kind of read over. You know, many of you don't have to worry about this. You have a in-state address, obviously, because you have a restaurant in the state. You know, many of you know your federal employer identification number and your unemployment insurance number, and you're not a recruiter. CT Hires gets a little sticky when it comes to recruiters, and again, that's to make sure that we are protecting individuals from you know, job postings that are not sort of, you know, on the up and up. So you'd hit I agree. It would take you to this next screen. You are a direct representative of your organization. So you click the top one, you click next. You are here for recruiting. So you click that, continue registration. It'd bring you to this screen right here. Now, again, this for most people is what trips up the whole registration process. Sometimes a owner would send an HR rep, or maybe they have a recruiting department to us, and they may not have easy access to these numbers, but again, they can contact finance typically and get access to these numbers relatively quickly. We can also look up your federal employer identification number for you. We do not look up your unemployment insurance number for you, because that's sort of like your social security number. It's very important, that remains private and only known by you or whoever you deem to know that number. So bear with me, creating a fake number for the sake of this demo. So hopefully this one is not taken. Use the same for this number. And click continue. Great, perfect. So here in this next screen, you're going to enter in again some more contact information. You create a username. I'm just going to use my first name. Create a password. Confirm your password. You'd select a security question. Very standard so far. Your company name, since I am a restaurateur today. And the zip code that you are operating out of. Again, if some of you own multiple locations, maybe you have a central, place that you're operating out of. I'm going to use Waterbury because that is the AJC that I work out of. And I'm going to use the Waterbury address. Okay. Again, if it's the same for mailing, you'll just click this. And now this is where you would enter your information. Now, if you are using someone else to do your recruiting for you, they would enter their information here, and they would be the one that would have primary access to the account to add job orders, to edit job orders. And some companies do, delegate this. So I'm just going to put owner. Email address, which I'm also going to put in the chat at the end of this. So if you ever have a question about this or just want help registering, feel free to reach out to me. We at the Department of Labor understand that the more companies that register for CT hires, the better it becomes in terms of a vehicle for recruiting. Now, I typically select email for my notifications. If you have a company website, you can enter it here as well. Scrolling down. So here is a industry code. So this is how CT Hires basically codifies all the companies that register within CT Hires, and it allows prospective employees to search based on these codes to more quickly identify the areas that they're looking to find employment. So I'm going to type, if it works with me. Little freeze on my screen. Yeah, X out and go back in. The screen seems to have frozen, and I don't know why. I think the snow is causing quite a bit of, it's not much out there either. Delays and things. Let me refresh. Hopefully it takes me back to this screen. While we're waiting, I'm going to type into the chat here my email address.
And Rocky, as it tries to load, I think for those on this call, I think finding your employee identification number, your UI number, your NAICS code as well. Unfortunately, you guys all should know that information moving forward. As we know, of even trying to apply for any federal grants, you needed to go through that process. Even think with CARES Act stuff, you had to do a lot of that stuff too. So pretty readily available. But yeah, I think, the 72 NAICS code is actually, so everyone knows, how we did the tax remittance program for the 7.35. You had to be a 72 NAICS code starting, which is exactly the same on the Paycheck Protection Program, of having the, if you got 3.5 times your payroll instead of 2.5 times, it was for NAICS code 72, which is, give a lot of credit to the National Restaurant Association, thinking quick on their feet, of saying, well, what else can you get to help support our industry? If you realized on the second round of PPP, you received 3.5 times as opposed to 2.5 times because of the fact of your NAICS code. So I think finding.
And that screen does not seem to want to cooperate with me. So I'm just going to exit out. I'm also going to show you that, there we have something called a virtual recruiter that will basically, once you set it up, it will sort of scour or search CT hires as often as you set it up for. It could be daily, it could be hourly, however often you want to get these updates, and it will email you viable candidates, so that many of you, obviously, as restaurateurs, are exceptionally busy, and you may not have the time to log into the system daily to try and search for a viable candidate, and you can search CT hires based on resume. You can search based on credential. It's actually a very, there are more, I should say, bells and whistles to CT hires than actually exist on Indeed. And many companies that I talk to quite often state that the Indeed bill is very large, and it does not typically result in viable candidates. So it's another thing to consider. Oh, it's searching for me. Okay. And this, like I said, it's really a quick process. Although we had a technical glitch today, I've helped companies register in minutes. And the other thing that we do is, if you do not have time to post your job orders, we will actually post them for you. So, we would just require a description, pay scale, how you would like individuals to apply, whether that be through a website, whether that be emailing resumes directly to a contact person. We will do the entire process for you to kind of help you along with utilizing CT hires. We have seen a huge number of companies in the last, I would say, 6 months register with CT hires, and that's only going to make the system better. Let's hope this works this time. Did it freeze on me again? Oh, it did. Well, once you get through this screen, it is the last screen. It's going to come to a number of agreements. So you're going to see, let me get to it. This one right here, which basically lays out that you cannot discriminate on an employee or a future employee based on their unemployment status. You're also going to see one that says you cannot, get to it right here. You can't discriminate based on someone's credit information. Many people will do credit checks. It's a very frequent thing to be done, when someone's applying for an apartment, but it's something that you cannot sort of use to exclude individuals from, the position. Now, once I'm going to log into my own account so that I can show you creating the job order. The other thing that we do while I'm doing this is we, on a daily basis, when I log in the morning, I try and locate, new positions, and I directly refer individuals to positions that are in CT hires. I can do that based on a whole number of things. And and I can also monitor how many of those individuals go and view your job orders. And again, as Scott pointed out, there is a human being doing that every day in every one of your regions for every position that's posted on CT hires, which is not something you'll find through Indeed or through ZipRecruiter. Now, I'm going to go through and show you quickly. I will just pull up this one, how we create a job order. Now, you can put as little or as much information in a job order as you'd like. I recommend putting more information into the job order, okay, than you might think, because it allows an employee to try and to view your job order through a whole set of criteria. They might be searching based on job title. They might be searching based on salary. They might be searching based on whether or not you're on a public transportation line. They might be searching based on a radius. They might set a radius. So it's important to have as much information as you can. So I'm going to, again, I'm pretending to be a restaurateur. So if I'm looking for a line cook, and the same way that what you didn't see, which was me trying to find the code for a restaurant, there are codes for various positions. So I can click on line cook, and it will bring up a bunch of distinctions. Now, what this is also good for is if you don't have a full list of skills needed for the position you're posting, there are individuals that go through and scour nationally and locally the skills needed for thousands of positions. They load them into CT hires, and they become part of your job order automatically. If you don't have the most detailed job description, like I'm going to show you, the job description I'm going to use is this one right here. If you don't have a very detailed job description, it will fill in some of the gaps for you. So it's a great tool in that way. Again, work at home. No, it's a restaurateur, but as you might imagine, in today's market, that has become one of the more important characteristics for a job. I would go through and copy this description, post it into the description box. Down here at the bottom, I'll scroll down. Here, salaries. Now you can click whether or not you want someone to be able to view your salary or not. Again, it can be advantageous to do either or. You know, if you know you're offering more for a position than some of your competitors, you might definitely want to have a viewable salary to kind of attract, you know, the clientele. You can set based on hour, day, week, month, quarter, however you pay. You can let them know how, you know, pay will be basically decided. Usually depends on experience. Usually we don't touch any of these unless a company tells us that they have any particular thing they want stipulated. You can let them know hours vary or hours are specific. You can let them know what shift that they're going to be working. As you scroll down, here is the application method. Most of the time, a company will let me know they want the resumes emailed directly to them, and I would go to by email, top one, and they would give me an email that I would then enter here once this next screen loads into this box. And then I would go down here and I would say, interested in qualified candidates, feel free to email resumes directly to, and they would give me the name and the email. We can do a company URL. If you have a website where they can go on and click a link and apply, we can put your URL here as well to allow them to apply that way. Down here, so this is that area I was talking about. If you don't have the time to go through and select from all of these skills, when you put in the title of the position you're recruiting for, and you found what's called the ONET code that lines up or as closely lines up with the position that you're recruiting for, it will autofill skills required for that position. Down below it, you have an age requirement. So say someone's going to be, you know, working at the bar, or you just have an age requirement for the position that you're recruiting for. You can enter an age requirement. They have a drop down here as to why. So alcohol is one of them. And then you have minimum education required, breaks it down, you know, from high school to 1 or 2 years of a technical school or vocational school certification. This one is by months. So if you're looking for somebody who has a year's worth of experience, you have to break it down by months. So it's 12 months, kind of trips up some employers sometimes. Does this require a license or certification? You might want to say yes, if it does. If you know, if it's something that requires ServSafe. Is this, again, this is that search function I was saying. Some people do search based on whether or not something's on public transportation or not. You can select yes or no. You can select whether or not it requires a driver's license. And once you do select that, it breaks it down even further by whether or not it's got to be a class A, B, C, or non-commercial. This down here, you typically will not touch. It will auto-populate based on your company's registration, what region you're in, the AJC or American Job Center office location, etc. You would come down here and you'd hit create job. I won't hit it right now because I'm not trying to create this one. But what I'll show you now is when I come into the job orders and I am searching. Say I come in the morning and I want to see what was posted, say because it's Monday, what was posted maybe over the weekend. I can designate all types of things, zip code, city, you know, the actual full state. I'm going to do Waterbury. I'm going to hit set area and I'm going to hit search. And this will bring up every job order currently live in the system. For every company that has or business service specialist that has entered a job order. And so what I can do is I can click on the actual job order and you can see the details of the job order, and I scroll down to the bottom and I go to my refer candidates to this job. When I do this, again, I can search based on a whole set of criteria. Okay, I might want to search for the most recent individuals that have registered with CT Hires, that the most active. I can set it based on region. If it's a position that somebody from further away might be more attracted to. And when I click search, it provides me with a long list of individuals that I then send direct messages to with the job orders, that they can come on to CT Hires and they can find or read as to whether or not that's a position that they're interested in. I do hundreds of these a day, if not a couple thousand a week. And again, it's another thing that you won't find with Indeed or ZipRecruiter in terms of a live individual that's free, entirely free to you. Trying to make sure that people know about the position that you posted on the CT Hires. You can call your business service rep and say, hey, I just posted this position, like Scott was explaining. Do you know of anybody? We all work with partner agencies that also have individuals that are looking for work or are going to be maybe a graduating class from a technical school or a training program that might be someone that you're willing to take a look at. We just try and facilitate that process. We all have a vested interest, outside of some of the winter weather. I love Connecticut. I hail from Newhallville and New Haven. Went to the University of Connecticut. I love the restaurants. I love, I have my favorite downtown areas like, Norwalk and New Haven and West Hartford. And my friends and I love, going to restaurants and bars when we can. So to help you and assist you all with, keeping business alive and going, is something that's near and dear to all of us. So we have no problem walking you through this or doing this for you to assist in this process. There are various levels of technical skill when it comes to computers. We understand that, so we're willing to go the extra mile to kind of help you along. And what I'll finally end by showing you is the documents that I'm going to be sending that will be forwarded to you that are one-sheeters that provide a lot of information in terms of what we do. This is one about recruiting. I know it says things like the Northwest locations for recruiting, but there are locations within all of the regions that you are all operating of. This is an amazing fact sheet about what is CT Hires, how it can be used, what can be done with it. This is the employer user policy that you'll be able to read, prior to even registering, so you can get a look at it. You don't have to, without having to go through the registration process. This is a quick one-pager on how to register for CT Hires, how to post jobs. It is, once you get going, relatively simple. I was talking to a gentleman who had never seen CT Hires, and in 3 minutes, he had already registered while I was talking to him. And so I said at the end of the call, hey, need help registering? He said, no, I registered within 3 minutes of this phone call. So it is relatively easy. This is the virtual recruiter I was discussing that you can set, and that can be scouring CT Hires for applicants and emailing them to you so that you can you can directly reach out to them. This is, again, that the one pager you'll see when you start registering. This is, you cannot discriminate based on unemployment status. This about the credit status. I will be sending along also the links that will take you to who are your business services specialists. They are all outstanding, way more seasoned than me. I will openly admit, I joined DOL last year. Many of these individuals have, if not 5 decades of DOL experience, not just in business services, but in other departments. They can really help you through how to navigate, DOL and get the best use out of the services that we provide. I'll also send this link that'll tell you which town, based on which town you're in, what area that you reside in, so that you can reach out to the business services specialist. And again, even though I may not be in your region, if you need anything, a walkthrough, a one-on-one to discuss this, to find out more information, quell any fears that you might have or concerns that you might have, feel free to email me or reach out to me. I would love to talk with each of you about the various things about DOL and CT hires, and make this process as easy as I can, to help you all along. And that's all, Scott. Thank you.
No, thank you, Rocky. I know obviously a couple technical difficulties with the site, but I appreciate you kind of working through it. And I think for those on the call, I hope that you try to get registered. Take advantage of this. You take advantage of someone like Rocky that's working every day to try to help place people in jobs. And as you look at their list, and I've talked to the DOL from Dante down, like there aren't that many restaurants on using CT hires or trying to see, and obviously they're open to changes, suggestions, how to continue to make it better. And I'm looking forward to, seeing more of you guys register, posting. If you have an interest in the Afghan refugees specifically, because there are different pockets where some people are being placed, please reach out to us. We can help you through that process as well. I know you're just looking for viable workers. I get it. A worker shortage is not something I don't take lightly. And I think that this can hopefully help us as we start our recovery, and getting you guys in the system. It should take 5 to 10 minutes, and you can start posting jobs and then work with either Rocky or others from around the state. So thank you, Rocky, again for the time and the presentation. And so I know we're a little over an hour. Don't want to keep you guys on too much. Real quick, I'm going to turn over to Jennifer, because also we're working on something with National. But before that, as I see Kenneth sent a note on the ERTC side, please reach out to us before you start going with companies from around the country or even in the state. A lot of them are like saying, oh, we'll get you ERTC money, but we want 20%, 10% of anything we bring back to you. Substantial. There's definitely companies out there that even in locally for us, that we have partners that are charging a heck of a lot less of the money you might be bringing back in. Like, let's say you get $100,000 in ERTC, and there's a company out in Pennsylvania that said they were going to take 20%. It's 20 grand that you're losing. So please reach out to us so we can help you through that process. And then Jennifer, if you want to kind of talk a little about the apprenticeship program on a national level and kind of what we're working on as well.
Sure, thanks, Scott. I just put the link in the chat for people. We're having a webinar on Thursday at 10 a.m. for employers who are interested in engaging in the Apprenticeship Employer Program. We're working with the National Restaurant Association Educational Foundation. They can provide funding for training for people who are in the apprenticeship program if you become an apprentice employer. We're also working with the Connecticut Department of Labor to try to align the federal and Connecticut apprenticeship programs. So that's a few things that we're working on from our foundation side. If you are wanting to know a little bit more about apprentices, feel free to email me and I can tell you more about it, or you can just join the call on Thursday, and Ed Walden from NRAEF is going to walk through how you can become an apprenticeship employer. And at the federal level, it could happen literally tomorrow if you're interested. So the state level is a little bit different, but we're working on that.
No, thank you, Jennifer.
And I'll put my email in as well.
Yeah, and actually I can get your email up pretty quick if I go back to, just so everyone has it, as it's a recording. And I've got all of our emails up from our staff and Nicole and Ryan. So listen, I know there's a lot that we went through today in a little more than 60 minutes. But I thought it was, as you guys know, at the CRA, we're going to try to do monthly Zoom webinars throughout your recovery. It's not just going to be once this pandemic ends. Hopefully we're soon to that path. But our goal is to try to help you guys, have a strong recovery. This is one area with CT hires in the worker side, the apprenticeship program, trying to find federal and state dollars for these different workforce development programs. I'm actually working with Jennifer on some different grants. Just staying connected with us is so important. Even asking questions about the ERTC that I see on there, like, things you guys maybe don't know. We are trying to, be that conduit to help you guys. And I end with, session is starting this week, so there'll definitely be a lot more going on the legislative side of the state, but we're not going to stop our push on a federal level. I appreciate you guys pinging me today with different mayors and first selectmen I get to call after this about the mask mandate, and ARPA funds though too. I think that would be my takeaway for you guys is if you haven't reached out to your mayor, first selectman, town manager, and just ask them how much they receive in ARPA funds and how much is going to be allocated to help small businesses, especially the hospitality sector. That's all you have to ask them, see what they come back with, because that's going to be crucial, because those are real dollars. It's a one-time amount of money that the city has or the town has to utilize, and hopefully they're thinking of you in that process. So as always, thank you guys again for the time. Rocky and Sean, the DOL, thank you guys for putting this together for us. And I look forward to hopefully seeing you guys in your restaurant soon. I wish you guys all the best this weekend with Valentine's weekend. We'll have our next webinar hopefully here at the beginning of next month. So thanks again.